projected to increase by 17% per annum and reaching $50 billion by 2020, maybe doubling the number of employees. That is going to be a major factor. Will a Trump presidency be good for that? Will a Hillary presidency be good for that? What about the pronouncement also of the president, our president? Will it affect U.S. policy, Trump policy or Hillary policy that might slow down? I don't think it will result in call centers moving out, but it might slow down the 17% growth rate, $50 billion. That's hard to find anywhere in the world.
Trump has hinted about bringing jobs back.
Yes,
Do you think
outsourcing, yeah.
Do you think it includes that pretty much? Is it understood that it includes the hundreds of thousands of jobs here in the Philippines that should be theirs, as he says?
Well, he made some statements already against outsourcing, and BPO is outsourcing. But one advantage that we have is that Trump has business connections in the Philippines, and there's a major businessman who has a very good relationship with Trump, so maybe that will help, no? But in the case of Hillary is going to be good because Hillary is for continuity. In other words, the BPO will not be touched, it will continue to flourish, and that will be good for the Philippine economy. So what will be good for us is continuity as far as this big segment of the Philippine economy is concerned. And that goes for a Trump policy, and also perhaps you can appeal to the president to make sure that things are stable as far as the BPO is concerned.
Well, we've discussed all aspects. We've discussed security, economics, and just diplomatic ties. What do you feel, your personal opinion, sir? What do you feel we should be excited for? A Trump victory or a Clinton victory? We had former Ambassador Jose Quishan here yesterday, and he was saying, well, in terms of, I guess, for the Philippines to benefit, Hillary may have a bit of a lead just because of the fact that she was Secretary of State and that her foreign policy and, her just being friends with, with everybody else may be a little easier to traverse
I will
around.
not talk about anyone in particular, but in foreign policy, what is important is stability. What is important is predictability. And Hillary, considering her background, is a known factor, being the wife of the former president, senator, and secretary of state with a known record, a voting record. She's the better known factor, and I think stability will be in her favor. In the case of Trump, he is the more exciting president because we will expect something new. But excitement may be for the better or for worse as far as the Philippines is concerned. So whatever it is, as I said, the major factor that will come in and that will have a big effect on our foreign policy is that we are going to have a more assertive U.S. president, more assertive than the incumbent President Obama.
In those lines as well, sir, does it play a factor that currently we don't have a permanent Philippine ambassador to the U.S. right now? We don't know when one will be sent over there. There was mention earlier recently of Businessman Jose Antonio, you mentioned, of the Secretary of Properties to be
the envoy.
A trade envoy, specifically for trade, because forget, the speculation is he's had relations, business relations with Trump, and he's a friend of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, that's also very good. Personal relations are very important in diplomacy, in foreign policy. That will be a good factor. Hillary has so many friends here because of the number of years that she has spent in various stages in her life. So, but what is important is the selection of the next ambassador that will go through confirmation. He will have to be accepted in the United States. But it will be a very challenging situation because of the pivot to China as announced by our president. So that will make the relationship more complicated than it was a year ago.
Now, meanwhile,
from the security aspect, economic aspect, and even the cultural, social aspect.
Now, on the flip side, there's a new U.S. ambassador coming into the Philippines, Korean-American Sung Kim. we know that the relationship of Duterte and Goldberg is not ideal. Let's put it that way. In terms of how he's described him, even during the campaign to begin with, because he felt, as he said, he got slighted by the comments that the U.S. ambassador made during the campaign. How does this change potentially now with the new U.S. ambassador coming in, alongside with the new president coming in?
Well, we have a situation now. The defense attaché of the U.S. is Korean American also, Colonel Lee, but I think he's outgoing already. The head of the Pacific Command is a Japanese American, graduated to the Naval Academy. And then now, the incoming U.S. ambassador is an Asian American, and I think and there's so many Koreans here in the Philippines, so I think he'll feel very much at home here, and maybe the president will be more comfortable with him than outgoing Ambassador Goldberg. So that will be good for Philippine-American relationship. I think that is something that we must always look at. We have had a very good relationship with America since 1946. There are 4 million Filipinos there. There are many American investors. It's a known factor. I think when we open our foreign relations with a new country, like China, for example, it should not be at the expense of existing relations like with America, with Japan, with India. So that's how we should navigate through this modern times.
But there are some who felt that it may have been necessary to say certain things about the U.S. in terms of wanting to get China to warm up with us again.
Yeah, that's true. It's a very good strategy. It's also very good to have an independent foreign policy. Right. They should not take us for granted. I go along with the comments of some that to a certain extent, America has taken us for granted, just like sometimes we take for granted some good friends. We sometimes overlook that these good friends expect.
So you're saying it might not be intentional.
It may not be intentional, precisely.
Just in the priority of things.
Yes, that's why they keep on saying, how come they treat Japan better than the Philippines when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor? Simple things like that should be considered, and very important to wake up a giant like America. And also, of course, now we have China and America looking at us as a partner, and that's good for us.
With the new presidency coming in, I guess the discourse could change as well in terms of President Duterte and his sentiments for the new president. Do you think that this can change things as well? Because it's also about interpersonal relationships.
Yeah, well, I really don't know, because President Duterte is talking about some things that he has against America. His life history. Those will not change, but it will be up to, well, maybe we will have a new U.S. president who can reach out better than President Obama. And this will be, resetting the button.
Correct.
As far as the relationship is concerned, because a lot of things changed dramatically in the last 120 days.
Well, given that, Alexi mentioned the arms purchase already earlier, and interestingly, that was actually initiated by a U.S. senator, and there's been talk about saying that, citing that example, it might not matter so much who is the president, because there will be these old, Democrats or Republicans that have the power as well in the Senate. Given that, would you say that the tone dictated might come more from the president of the Philippines rather than the U.S. because of the way that he's been aggressive in the things that he says against the U.S.?
There has to be balancing.
Okay.
We need to moderate the exchange of comments and statements with respect to the Philippines and the U.S. In the case of the intervention of Senator Cardan of Maryland, it came at the wrong timing, because the situation was already heating up, and he added fire to the heated relationship, although that was supposed to be an SOP, under the International Trade on Arms Regulations, ITAR, of the U.S. Any export sale will have to be informed, will have to be sent to the U.S. Congress for their information and for possible objection. And in this particular case, it was only one senator objecting, when in fact it should be by way of a joint resolution. So in this particular case, my feeling was that the Department of State reacted too much to the objection of a single senator when it should require no less than a joint resolution. So that added to the strain in the relationship.
But actually, just to be technical about it, he didn't cancel it yet. He said he would.
Yes.
And then there's reactions already here.
It's like some senators here or congressmen, they'll say, oh, I intend to object.
Yeah.
And there will be a reaction on the part of the executive.
Right.
As I said, that was a case of overreaction by the Department of State, but maybe possible also triggered by the fact that there's already a strain in the relationship between the Philippines and the U.S.
Which brings a concern to that point. Some people have said, even here in the U.S., that whatever President Duterte said, it's just rhetoric. You know, it's just words. But obviously now these words have actually become tangible.
Well,
in terms
words,
of feelings, and then now things are being cancelled.
Words hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this particular case, we are talking of career officials in the Department of State. They have long memories.
Right.
It's not really the White House that makes foreign policy. It's the career officials in the Department of State. So in the coming months, whoever becomes president in the U.S., it's still a lot of those career officials that will help in influencing their policy to the Philippines.
Now we've got a lot of Filipinos in the U.S. as well, Mr. Golez, and how will this affect them? There's been talk about Trump being harder on immigration. In terms of that, who might be better in terms of the Filipinos living there and have better relations there with the U.S. government?
If you look at the more prominent PhilAms in the U.S., I think some of them are leaning towards Hillary. In fact, many of them are very active in the fundraising campaign for Hillary. So if Hillary is the one who will win, that group will be very influential in crafting relations between the Philippines and the U.S. But some, also would like, some Filipinos are Republicans by nature also, and therefore leaning towards a guy like Trump. So I guess we'll be well represented. But we have to remember that California, many of the Filipinos in California, and California is really Democrat, through and through.
There's been talk as well of Trump saying that he will terminate Obama's executive actions, deport the illegals, and we do have a lot of illegals out there. We know that for a fact. Does that affect the sentiment towards
That's easier said than done. I remember when Bloomberg was mayor of New York City, he was talking of several 100,000 illegal immigrants. He said, we cannot remove them, because if they're removed, it's going to affect the economy of New York. We need them for our economy.
As much, parang tanggap na nila, nandun sila.
Yes, there are things that only illegal immigrants are willing to do.
Right,
the regular citizens there are not willing to do that. So what's going to happen if the immigrants are removed?
And there is still a big Filipino population out there that is for Donald Trump in terms of wanting change and in terms of perhaps the lowering of the taxes. I think that's a big selling point.
And also, some Filipinos are also not comfortable with too much entry of immigrants. Especially they're worried about certain groups. They would rather have a status quo, parang sabi nila, tama na, kami na lang, huwag na madagdag. So they're in favor of the Trump policy. Because the immigrants are also threatening their job security there.
Well, for you, sir, I don't think we've ever asked you yet this whole conversation. You personally, if you had a chance to vote, who would be your vote over there at the US?
I will not, I don't think aloud in the first place. I think what we should think of after this is whoever wins, we should improve our relationship with the United States. There has been some, turbulence. So I think that's not good. We want to open up to China, but we should not sacrifice existing good relationships from the economic, cultural, and ideological point of view.
So in other words, we should make the first move.
That's right.
It should come from us rather than wait for them, whoever will be sitting there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. We have to adjust to the bigger powers.
Very interesting points. We want to thank you for joining us, sir, in the morning. Former National Security Advisor Roilo Golez. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, sir. And coming up, a former Philippine ambassador talks to the U.S., well, to the U.S. thinks that the Trump presidency is